broadcasting live from an undisclosed location in the universe. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, the show where metaphysics, holistic living, motivation, and inspiration come together to empower your mind, body, and soul. We will dive deep into the realms of metaphysical wisdom, exploring the fascinating connections between mind and matter. Get ready to ignite your inner spark and embrace a journey of self-discovery. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
I want to welcome everybody to Iggy Garcia Live. I'm Iggy Garcia. This is episode 200. Today I'm going to be talking about my Peru journey, my journey to Peru. Got a little candle here. Light this candle, giving thanks to our ancestors for all the work they do behind the scenes. And this will be lit during the show here. Let that burn. Got a little sage. Okay. Let's get ourselves ready. Some ceremonial sage. All right. Just kind of cleanse the space, cleanse the area, cleanse our spirit, cleanse our soul. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then a little Palo Santo. Bringing that harmonious purification energy. That smells great. All right. Let those things burn a little bit while we're moving. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here with me. And hope you can stick around for a little bit as we navigate the byways and the highways of the super highways of the internet and seen unseen. So we're going to talk a little bit about my journey in Peru and how that experience went. For those of you who have never been to Peru, that's where I was born. I'm from Peru. I was born in Peru. Came here as a young lad. And, now been here for some time and been learning the ways of my people through proven shamanism and different types of shamanism and different work that I do. I do a lot of drum facilitation, drum healings and circles and sound healing work, shamanic work. And those are for you who want to catch up, come up to speed. If you want more information about me, just go to iggygarcia.com or look for me on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube page. It's good to be here. And we talk a little bit about all things shamanic and all things spiritual and metaphysical and holistic. But we're going to talk a little bit about journeying in plant medicine and what that means and what that means to the individual and what it means to different people. Tonight's story is going to be a little bit about myself and the people who traveled with me and the journey we took. So it's 1 month from the date that we walked on that plane and flew to Peru. So July 5th, I got on the plane and went back home and got to share the beautiful sights and scenery of my country with the people who went with me on that trip. And we got to see and experience, the culture that we come from, which is Peruvian, which is Inca, which is Lima, which is, Chanca, all the different types of people from Peru. Um, so we'll just start with my journey. I'm here, I reside in Columbus, Ohio now. I've been here for some time with my family, and we were been in the restaurant business for many years, and through the restaurant business, we connected and got in touch with our connections, our spirituality, just because all the people that you meet and everybody you're connected with. So today, I just want to talk a little bit about what we did. So we took a tour to Peru last month to just to reconnect and to share cultural uh, differences with my friends and family and people who went on this trip. So there's 15 of us going on the trip to Peru. We went there to connect with different things. The whole journey was to connect with the plant medicine, as known as ayahuasca. And ayahuasca is a very powerful plant medicine. And ayahuasca I do not recommend for everybody. It's like jumping into a sports car of your evolution, of your spiritual work that you're doing to work on past traumatic things, past ancestral work. Ayahuasca is not for the faint of heart. Ayahuasca is not a recreational drug from with any means. It's a healing drug. It's not even a drug. It's a plant medicine. It's a medicine that helps you heal. Helps you heal from PTSD, different types of ailments, different types of emotional feelings and things that hold you back. And so this would be my third journey for ayahuasca journey. The first journey, I took it here in the United States, and I'll never do ayahuasca here in the States again. I've never met anybody who does it properly or with kindness and care that would be done in my country. I'm not saying that all shamans in Peru are that way, but my second journey was a very gentle, very powerful, a lot of work that I had to do, a lot of work that needed to be worked on. But this last journey was a preparation, a huge preparation that I wasn't even aware that I was working on, that I had to work on. So we started our journey like most people do. We travel, go to the airport, we get off the plane, we settle in, and then we travel to different parts of Peru, and we met with 4 different shamans, and the 4 different shamans had 4 different messages for all of us. Excuse me. So those 4 messages were completely different. We went to the Sun Temple. We were with a shaman, Fortunado. Fortunado is the uncle of one of our guides, Jairo Asco, who's Juan Asco's nephew. And Fortunado is also the uncle of Jairo Asco. Jairo is my friend. He's also a shaman in Peru, and he's a person you would want to connect with. I can get you connected with him. He's a very powerful medicine man. So our journey takes us to Peru, to Lima, and then we're here at the Temple of the Sun, and we're connecting with the ancestral energies and feeling the vibration and the connection and how beautiful it was. My 90-year-old mother-in-law went with us. She was pretty amazing to see her go up and down all these cobblestones, all these different paths, and all these different stairways. I was really impressed. I thought she was gonna have a hard time, and she outdid herself. I was really proud of her. She outdid a lot of the young people in the group. And our journey was very powerful about connecting with the ancestors. The reason we go to Peru is to connect with our ancestral beings, ancestral heavenly beings, and connect with those different pieces and parts of us that are wounded. The whole journey was about reconnecting and working on our aspects of ourselves. The south door of the medicine wheel, connecting with looks within, the bones, the skin, the muscle, all those attributes that we have to address at some point or another in our lives. Sometimes we don't address these things because we're not well, and that's why we go on these journeys. We go on these journeys to self-discovery, and to, and to see and to find and see if we have answers. And the answers are inside of us, but sometimes we just need a little help, a little push to get us to that place. And that was this journey to Peru. I've been to Peru several times. I've been, to all the sacred sites that are available to us to walk on. We're in Lima and we're connected, and I'm in Lima and I'm feeling suffocated. I feel like there's just way too many people. There's just a whole lot of people in one concentrated area. But that's just me because I'm not used to that. Because in Columbus, we're pretty spread out, and we feel what we need to feel, and we connect with what we have to connect. But nonetheless, eventually we hop on a plane and we go visit Cusco. We go to Cusco, and we connect in Cusco with the energies of Cusco. Much different, a little more laid back, and that energy is more chill. And we connect with another shaman, and this other shaman is giving us a despacho ceremony, and the despacho ceremony was beautiful, wonderful, and he was able to share with us the medicine of the mountain and the valley and how Mother Earth and Sky Father connect through the despacho ceremony. Very similar to the work that I do. Very beautiful, very powerful. I was very impressed, very beautiful. But you're there to learn about people, you learn about things. And I'm kind of talking a little bit about the shaman, but the shaman was funny because it was one of those things, in our culture here in America, we put out the donation baskets for love offering. And here I am, man, we're going to give this guy a donation. I hope that everybody gives, But he was prepared. He pulled out all his tapestries, his hats, his chullos, his necklaces, all the things, all the things that he made, or things that he bought, or things that he was going to sell. So he sold this all to us. And of course, everybody, most of the people in my group are, the tourists. And they're like, oh yeah. So they went, he bought, he made out, he banked. And I was like, man, that's good. That's a good lesson to learn. Sometimes practitioners, we always wonder why someone doesn't leave a good donation in our basket. But this guy taught me a lesson. Offer something to somebody. Offer to the people the things that you make. Offer to them, apart from your ceremony, offer them things for them to purchase, things to invest in themselves. And people will support you. It's like, you open up your little shop right there and then, and you support it. And that was really impressive, because I hadn't seen that in quite some time in that way, in that fashion. And I was like, yeah, so that's good. It's a good lesson learned. You'll have to apply it to the work you do. And you'll have to apply it in how it is, and you'll see how that works out for you. But the shaman was on the ball on that. He's like, he sold me his a tapestry, a little blanket tapestry that his wife had made. And then after she finished it, she passed away from COVID. She was sick. And so, but he didn't want to sell it to anybody. And I didn't really, I wasn't really like, hey, you're going to sell this. No, but he sold it to me, and he sold me a ceremonial chuyo. And I was like pretty stoked about that. We had connected that way. So it was good to see everybody getting their blessing, the 3 coca leaves, blowing into the coca leaves, and releasing the things we need to release. So it was really powerful medicine. We went to Oyatambo, we went to Sexumaman, we went to Pisac, we went to all the Sacred Valley, we saw Muray. Muray, I had never been to Muray. Muray is a beautiful space, which is a very circular terrace built like a round hole into the ground. And all the different levels have different temperatures and different things that they would grow on. So I got to see that for the first time because I always thought it was very fascinating. Excuse me. Very fascinating to me because I thought it was like really powerful. In the pictures it looks powerful. What I just like, wow. We got to go to the salt mines, which was amazing, and I thought that was really cool. How the how the salt water got trapped in the mountains over millions and millions of years, and then the heat from the lava caused the water to steam up, percolate up, and create these pockets of salt pools where people collect the salt. And there's tons and trillions and trillions salt trapped in the mountains, and it's pushed up by the heat of the earth. The geyser work, and then they have these huge pools, which is that pink salt. For those of you who are familiar with the pink salt of Peru, it was pretty amazing. I thought that was pretty cool. It's funny. The trip to Peru was kind of tiring. I was kind of tired a lot of times just because of all the walking and all the things. Because I just had surgery. I had surgery from my hernia in my stomach, and so I was recovering from that. I'm all recovered now, finally, but it was one of those things that it was part of my journey to push through that energy and push through that stuff. Um, I wish I could be going now because I would have the energy to do the things I needed to do. But it was part of the journey. Part of the journey was to feel that pain, to feel that suffering, to feel the lag, to feel the difficulty to climb simple steps. Just because I was recovering from surgery, and there was other people who were not well, they were sick as well. So I was pretty stoked about that, being able to share and feel that energy. And then we moved along, we kept moving through our journey, and we finally went to Madre de Dios, and we got to go to the jungle, and we got to visit the jungle and be there and meet Yang Teng, Shaman Yang Teng, and Jairo, and they were there, our ministers for that journey, ayahuasca ministers. They were there to teach us and to challenge us and to put us in place. Now, mind you, when we're in the jungle, there are no amenities in the sense of, you're gonna have water to take a shower. You're roughing it, and that's probably one thing that was probably hard on a lot of people in the group. To be able to feel that, and not be connected to the sources of energy. The whole journey of the whole purpose of going to Peru and visiting Machu Picchu and all the things, because we did go to Machu Picchu. We went to all the sacred sites, was to prepare us, and we were also on the diet, on the cleansing diet as we were traveling through Peru. So we didn't get to taste all the great dishes of Peru because we had to change our diet to prepare us for our journey, our plant medicine journey. And I tell you, it was not easy because I was like, oh man, I want to eat that, I want to eat that. And I couldn't eat that because, just because it wasn't available. Because we had to cleanse our system in order for the plant medicine to work properly inside of us. But anyhow, we did go to Machu Picchu. We visited Machu Picchu, got to see a lot of the temples and stuff inside there. And I got to visit the lower level of Machu Picchu because I had never had visited that lower part. I've always wanted to go to the lower part and use them up in the high parts. And it was beautiful to see. And I got to see a huge chinchilla. He was probably that big. I'd never seen one that big. And got to see, the sacredness of Machu Picchu in Cusco, and why and how, you know everything is the way it is. I'm gonna say hi here to some friends on the other chat. But I want to say hi to everybody who's here visiting, who's popping in and saying hi. I really appreciate you guys being able to be here with me for a little bit, and as I talk about my journey in Peru. But when we get to the jungle, it's not evening yet, but it's dusk, and we're traveling, we're traveling, and I tell you, it's an experience when you go from all these different climates. We arrive in Madre de Dios, and then we're there, and then we arrive to the airport, and it's cold. We step off the plane, and it's cold. Like you think the jungle would be warm and hot, but it was cold. It was close to 68 degrees. You may not think that's cold. Before the jungle, it's 90 degrees, 80 degrees. That was pretty cold. And so the stewardess is like, it's never been this cold. I don't remember ever being this cold. I said, well, I'm sorry. We didn't mean to bring the cold weather, but we come from Columbus, Ohio, and the weather's always changing every 5 minutes. So, and my 9-year-old mother-in-law is coming down the plane. They were really impressed with her just because of her ability to keep up, her ability to keep moving on this journey. And so here we are. We're traveling to Peru. We're in a whole different place. And we arrived to the shamanic temple, and we're there. We're greeted, and we're welcomed, and our bags are, we're. Let me go back a little bit because I thought it was pretty funny. When we got in these cars to transport us, we're driving through the city, the city, and then next thing we know, we're just like, one of the cars gets pulled over, and I asked the guy, so he got pulled over, and he goes, oh, there could be a warrant out for his arrest, or he didn't pay his tags for his car. We don't know, it's just really random. Because you know how you know your environment when you're here in your own country, in your own place, you know where to go and where to avoid. But if you're a stranger in someone else's world, you don't notice those things as much because you're not in tune with it. And Peru's kind of like that. Peru is very similar like that. That you could be in a place and you just be going la la la. Next thing you know, you're just surrounded by police officers just because you didn't see them or you weren't aware. It's just kind of like that. Or you'd be surrounded by a mob or whatever. It's because when we know our environment, we know how to and where and how to avoid. And we're going down these back roads, in these little cars, and there's these huge speed bumps they put in. And remember, Peru is a mining country. One of the biggest resources is mining: gold, silver, copper. So the area we were at was a mining area. So everybody who was working there were miners usually in the silver and gold mines. And then we finally, like I said, we finally arrive. We finally arrived to our destination, and we're there and welcomed. Our bags were exhausted, tired, just because the trip has made us that way. And then we walk in. We're greeted by the shamans, and they show us our space where we're going to stay. We talk and we sit and we share with the shaman for several hours about our expectations, our goals and stuff. But our group is a little quiet. Our group is a little quiet, and they're sharing. They were not as vocal as they usually usually would be, which I thought was kind of surprising. I thought they would have more questions, but that's kind of how it goes. It just is that way. And then we're there and we're sharing our thoughts and stuff, and the shaman's preparing us for the ayahuasca journey. And the shaman was really clear. He goes, the ayahuasca is about, the medicine of ayahuasca is to work on your past. All the things that have affected you from your past. It's not about projection in the future. It's really not about fortune telling or creation. It may seem that way, he says sometimes, but what we're looking at are potentials and things that we have experienced. And he was pretty clear that, he said that whatever we are experiencing may not be ours. It might be stuff that needs to be healed and worked on that is ancestral. So our connection is us and on the ancestral work. I thought it was really very powerful work. Now, granted, our shaman, Yintang, was very old school shaman, very parochial, very dogmatic in his ways, and very strict in his ways. And so if you're used to those neo shamans or more modern shamans who are a little more flamboyant, a little more musical, adept and stuff, this wasn't our shaman. Our shaman was very, very calculated, very proud of his work, very humble and very gracious, but also very strict and very serious. And for a lot of people in the group, it was a new experience, or their first experience with a shaman other than myself. And to be in that energy could be pretty intimidating. And he was intimidating. He was my teacher's teacher. So, and the first thing he says, "Oh, yeah, you were your student of Juan Oscar, so now I'm your teacher." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." All right, that sounds good. But like I told him, I said I really don't want to learn plant medicine. I'm not there yet. I'm not really connected to it in the way that I thought I would be. I learned in this journey, before I get into talking about the journey, is that, you know, I don't really need ayahuasca anymore. I think I reached the point where I don't need to connect with that plant medicine to connect with ancestral. I know it has opened the doors for me to be able to work on those energies without using the plant medicine. Now the next phase would be for me to work with San Pedro, which is it's a cactus, which is the sister plant of ayahuasca, which that medicine is about future work, things that we come and we have to work on for the future. And so present moment to future. And so that takes you on a whole different journey in projection. So I thought that was really powerful. And but uh, but anyhow, we're in the jungle, and it's late. It's at night, and we sleep. We wake up the next day, and we're in ceremonies, and we're practicing and sharing and talking about why we're here. And the shaman's pretty clear, and he shares with us, this is about us connecting with our wounded self. And he says what's going to happen is a lot of you are going to hear the same message. A lot of you are going to be frustrated because I may not say anything that you haven't already heard. And part of that is because you have to work on that. He says, if you've heard it again, if you're hearing it again, it's because you're not finished working on it. You didn't work on it. It's because you didn't. This isn't about being stroked or being massaged or being, you know, coddled. This is about really facing the trauma and the work that you had to do. And and that was his message was very poignant. And I know for a lot of people in our group, they understood, and there was a few that didn't. But from working with the medicine, I knew that was powerful medicine. And when you take ayahuasca, it's different for everybody. Ayahuasca, like I said, it's not a recreational thing. It's not something you just take for fun, because there's a lot of purging that goes on through, vomiting, defecating, urinating, throwing up. That's not fun. That's you're ingesting a plant medicine that could potentially kill you. It could probably put you in a really poor state of mind. And a lot of the medicines that we take, we had to wean ourselves off. I don't take medicine, but we had to wean ourselves off, temporarily, because they could be affected by the medicine. And so, everybody's journey, I was I was privy to everybody's journey. I'm not going to talk about their journeys because that's their private, you know, Waikan. Those are the private thoughts and things. But I was able to translate for the shaman and express, and him share about their stories. But the only thing I can comment is that a lot of people were happy with and they understood the story, and there was other people who were really triggered by, the answer that came out of his mouth. And he wasn't there to make you feel good or make you feel right. He was there just to give you an insight, about the settings that you have been corrupted inside your spirit, your mind, your soul. His job was to make sure that you were able to move through the process and go, hey, I still got work to do. I still got things to do. I haven't completed my karmatic journey, the dharmonic part of all my life. And for a lot of people, that was hard to hear something they've already heard. They traveled 2,000 miles and have to hear that again. But the point is that that's what you had to hear. You had to hear that. You had to say, oh, geez, I have to work on that. I still have to work on that? Well, a part of you does. A part of you has to work on it. A part of you has to work through that process, because there's a part of you that's not yours. You're holding on to energies that are not yours. And so the ayahuasca is one of those medicines that allows you to be able to release and let go. That's why people who have PTSD and stuff are able to let go and release, because the ayahuasca helps remove that, moves that energetic block, moves that energy from you, so you don't have to own it. The thing is, we own so much guilt and trauma and stuffiness and feelings that don't even belong to us. They're ancestral miasms, ancestral DNA, ancestral connections, ancestral stuff that we carry that you don't even know you're carrying sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're somebody else. It's because there's a piece and part of you, of your ancestors, that we carry. There's a whole slew of people inside of you. There's a whole slew of cells that are not you. There are pieces and part of you. We're just a part of we're a sum of the part of the whole. So we're all of us are connected. We get to carry this body, but there's a lot of energy that's trapped in there, through our cells, through our memories, and our thoughts and our feelings. That's why you look like somebody in your family who lived 200 or 300 years ago. Then this is why you look like your grandma, you look like your grandpa, and maybe you don't look like your parents. And it's because there's these genes and these energy, and this energy passes through you. So we're getting settled in, and we're connecting, and we're in the temple where we're going to do the journey, and he's explaining to us and sharing with us about the grand scheme of the universe and how the universe is connected through us and with us, and the different levels of obtaining levels of of awakening through shamanism and working through the energies that we have to work through. And so the shaman is sharing with us his teachings and the things that what he teaches and how he shares with the people in his sphere of influence. And he also talked about how he used to be very well known and how he was very popular and very connected with people outside of his connection to his flow of energy. And then how he, I don't want to say was corrupted by that, but he also was lured away a little bit from his practice and work because he was so caught up in the celebrity aspect of his existence. But eventually he knew that he had to break from that, and that he would break from that at some point, and that was going to be short-lived, because he talked about, how he had a personal chef, how he had a chauffeur and stuff. But, like all good things come to an end when we don't honor and respect it. And basically he's teaching us a lesson about, honor and respecting those things that are given to us, even for a short period of time, and to be grateful for it. But he shared that because he thought it was important to know that someone needed to hear that story. Someone needed to hear that. Who was that? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. He just shared. We share stories because somebody needs to hear it. Either we need to hear it again, or another piece and part of us need to hear it again, or somebody has to connect with that. And so, the shaman was pretty clear with us. Yang Tuna is, he's very, very serious shaman. He was can be very intimidating. But anyhow, we got to meet him, got to learn a little about him. He wasn't very open to the fact of, too much. He seemed like he was kind of, closed off a little bit, but he was really serious about the work he does. And so he was really, he knew we weren't there to mess around. He knew that we were there for a purpose. And that purpose was for us to cleanse and rid things of ourselves that are holding us back. Now, I know everybody in the group who was with me, they all had different things that they had to experience and different things they had to learn. Some people learned it along the way as we traveled through the mountains of Peru, through the desert. Some of us went to the Rainbow Mountain. I forget the name of where that's at, but it's in the mountains. It looks like a rainbow, just because of the iron that is what is it? The iron ore that's there and the way it creates colors. And then that's like 2 hour drive, 2 hour walk, 2 hours walk back. And my friends had horses and they went there, so they were pretty gone almost all day as we traveled through the different parts of the city in Cusco. And so the whole time we're in preparation, and I tell you, toilet paper was a commodity well wanted in the jungle. We didn't have enough toilet paper when we went to the store. We had plenty of water, most of us, but we didn't have showers. We didn't have anything to clean up with. The water, we had to be careful with the water that we were using to flush our toilets, because that water wasn't necessarily clean for drinking or consumption, only just for passing it on down the way. And so we got to connect with each other, we got to work with each other, and got to eat dinners with each other, got to share, we got to see the sunrises with each other. And we didn't get to see the sunset because sunset was on the other side, but we had a beautiful view right behind the temple, and beautiful view of the sun, where the sun would rise, and you can see the jungle all the way down, because we were at the top of the hill, and then the jungle just opens up It's beautiful, beautiful jungle. You can see all the trees, you can hear all the birds, and as the shamans would say, the only reason you don't see the animals is because they're afraid of us and we stink. we smelled, we smell bad. But after a while, you don't even worry about that. You just kind of connect with that. So all stories apart from my story are going to be completely different. So we're going to get into the story of my journey. And the reason I share my journey is because I want to, and I think it's important to share. But disclaimer is this, plant medicine is to be respected and to be honored and to be very open about the process. It's something you really have to think about, something that you really have to embrace in a way because it's a very spiritual connection. It's a spiritual connection that is unique to the individuals who are doing the work. Plant medicine is not for everybody. You may like the idea that, I'm going to take some ayahuasca and blah, blah, blah. Ayahuasca is not about you getting high and having a great time. I mean, you can drink a beer and do that. But ayahuasca is a journey of 3 particular plants that are come together in unification, the trinity of these plants. And this plant medicine is about unlocking pieces and parts of you that have been locked away. Pieces and parts of you that you didn't even know you had or were able to work on or heal. Now, there are all kinds of people who have all kinds of, different types of mental illnesses and stuff who take ayahuasca, but it helps because it helps you. It helps unlock and helps to shut down some of those traumatic feelings and emotions and feeling. Now, the journey of ayahuasca is a unique journey to each individual, and each individual will have their own experience. Some experiences will be grandiose, amazing. Some experiences will be very blasé, and some experiences will be very confusing and hard to understand, because you have to look at yourself in a way how you see the world, how you look at the world, and how you connect with the world. The plant medicine connects with the pieces and parts of yourself. The plant medicine knows exactly the things it needs to do. Ayahuasca is not, I don't recommend for everybody, because it's not for everybody. You may think it's for you, but ayahuasca, like I said earlier in the beginning of the show, is like jumping out of your little Prius, okay, and jumping into a Ferrari. And if you don't know how to drive the Ferrari, you're going to have a bad experience. But if you know how to drive a Ferrari, you're going to have a great experience. You can have a great experience in your Prius, but you're only going to go so far. And you can only move so quickly. So the plant medicine, I'm just kind of comparing it. And comparing it to however you are working. The process of healing, the process of working on the traumatic pieces and parts of you that are stuck, okay, is a journey within itself. You can unlock endorphins and feelings and emotions as you work and heal through sound healing, drumming, and all these different things. Plant medicine is to really be honored and respected. It's very much disrespected sometimes in our Western culture. Our Western culture looks at things as a quick fix. There are no quick fixes. Ayahuasca, if you take too much over a period of time, will cause you to have memory loss. Proven in fact and stated by the shaman himself. And that's why he does not take ayahuasca anymore on his journey, because he doesn't need to. You come to a point where you don't need to. There comes to a point where you know how to open up because you've taken so much and it's embedded in the spirit of your soul. The ayahuasca becomes part of you. It's there. The different versions of the pieces and parts of the ayahuasca is embedded in your DNA. It's part of you. So anytime it talks to you, it shares with you, it communicates with you in ways you don't even communicate. You'll look at nature completely different. You'll look at life completely different. What used to bother you won't bother you. What used to be important is not important. What used to be something that made you extremely happy, it doesn't make you so happy. Ayahuasca unlocks and moves and positions things around because it's important to understand that this plant medicine has a purpose. The great apuses, okay, the great spiritual leaders, when they create ayahuasca, all right, they were the ones, they were the elders who would take ayahuasca. They would take this ayahuasca in these dark temples, and they would have visions for the people. All right, as they had visions for the people, they would tell the people what they needed. Then one day, ayahuasca, when they took it, told them that the people have to have their own epiphany, their own journey, and that they have to have their own version of their wayaken, their story, their connection to spirit. That's how the medicine transfused and moved out. This is just one story of many stories. This is the story that was taught to me. That then the elders moved the plant medicine to the people, and then the people were able to have their own vision quests, their own journeys. This is probably the closest thing to a vision quest that I can share with you without going through an actual vision quest, an accelerated vision quest. And so for a lot of people, ayahuasca is very gentle and very peaceful. And for a lot of people, it's very traumatic, very hard. And for a lot of people, it's the loss of control in the moment. Just because you had a gentle one this time doesn't mean you'll have a gentle one next time. Or you could have a gentle one next time. It really depends on who the teacher is and who the medicine person is, who's administering and working the energy. There are different shamans, or there are doctors in the world. And not all doctors are the same, right? Some doctors you never see again because you wouldn't trust them with, with anything with your life. The same way when you look for a shaman, you need to ask a lot of questions. You have to also know what you're getting into. You don't just jump on the first boat, and say, oh, let's go, because you don't know if it's got a hole, you don't know if it's prepared. Your medicine person also has to be well. Your medicine person can be not well. So that's why it's important when you have connections, we have other shamans like myself or other connections with medicine people to make sure you ask the proper questions. The proper questions would be whatever you think is important and how it's going to how you will survive. Because remember, just like in Sweat Lodge, every year one person dies a year. Not because the Sweat Lodge killed them, it's because that was their moment in time. And the Sweat Lodge was the place that it happened. Because if it didn't happen in Sweat Lodge, it would have happened somewhere else. Was it a contributing factor? No. Ayahuasca is the same way. There are people who take ayahuasca and they die. Did they die because the ayahuasca killed them? Or did they die because their emotional constructs in their mind are not strong enough to support the feelings and emotions that are there? We're talking about some very serious things when we work with plant medicine. Plant medicine is not for the faint of heart, my friends. When you release that chemicals in your brain and disconnect, one of the most powerful things that will ever happen to you, that one has already happened to you, when the release of DMT, when you were born into this world, was released from your brain. So when you come through that canal, you'll have this beautiful experience. So you don't feel the pain of birthing as you're being constricted, as your head is being constricted, through the birth canal of your mother, okay, as she held space for you in her womb. Then you come out of that womb, a very traumatic experience. The same way with us when we're leaving our body, we also release the DMT in our head, the chemicals in our brain, so we can transition into a peaceful state of mind. And what happens after that? Nobody really knows, except for maybe whatever you're connected to in spirit, or whoever you're connected in a religious frame of mind, whatever they tell you. But nobody really knows. We just know what we know. We know and we think what we know. But our life doesn't end. We don't just die. We are recycled back into the fabric of the universe. Our bodies recycled to this dirt. Our spirits recycled into the Mother Earth, or vice versa. It's where your belief systems are. My journey and the journey of ayahuasca. So ayahuasca is a bitter tasting drink. And so imagine a cup about this big. And some people got about, quarter, 3/4 half. He gave me a full cup. And why did he give me a full cup? Because he felt energetically that I was able to handle that. He felt that I was able to maintain the pace as I take that. There's heart medicine that just opens up your heart, your spirit, and your soul, so you can work through that constructs of the ayahuasca. But as soon as I saw it, did I psych myself out? I knew that this wasn't going to be an easy journey for me because it gave me a lot. And I knew that ayahuasca is not always the most gentle baby. And you know, Maricela, you're funny. Tastes like prune juice. It don't taste like prune juice to me. It tastes nasty. Anyhow, that's funny. My friend's on the other chat, and I'm just laughing at her comment. I thought it was funny. But you know, we create what we create. You can have all the anticipation of what you think is going to happen, or you know, have in your mind what you hope happens. Once that journey begins, the ayahuasca says we're going down this way. Enjoy the ride, because where I'm taking you, you don't want to go. You haven't been wanting to go, or you've been here and we got a few things to take care of. It really depends, you know, who the teacher, who the ayahuasca minister is at that moment, and you know their intentions and their purposes and how they move energy. You know, their whole job is to help you process and move through the energy and move through the space. And you know, so the first person that, you know, he's up there, he's like, who wants to go first? Of course, my wife jumps up. She's like, yeah, me, I'll go first. You know, he gave her a nice, you know, a nice little bit. You know, she's took it. She's fine. I was surprised that she even was ready to do that journey, and I'm proud of her because, you know, she had some things she wanted to work on and some things to release. And then one by one, you know, everybody went around the circle, got up, took their medicine. They finally came to me. I looked at, you know, my shaman, and I looked, and you know, I'm going, oh, okay, you really want me to go there? I'm like, okay. And so I drank it, and you know, you lay down on these cot type beds or whatever you want to call them, and you just cover yourself up. And we had these little staffs. I didn't get too much into the ceremonies. The ceremonies were beautiful to prepare us for the journey, and I'll probably talk about that in another show, just because we don't have a whole lot of time. So I'm on this cot, and I'm just laying there, and you know, and here's the thing that this shaman does that I've not experienced before, so this was an experience for me, is that we're inside the temple that he helped build, and when the lights go out, the lights go out. It's dark. We're in there from, geez, I don't remember when we went in. But no, we went in the evening, and we weren't done until the next morning. This is how powerful this ayahuasca medicine was. I've had ayahuasca that only lasts 4 or 5 hours, 3, 4 hours maybe, and that's it. And you're done. You know, but you still carry a little bit of the lingering effects of ayahuasca. But this medicine was powerful. You know, you may not have an epiphany in the moment, but eventually you will. So we're in the pitch black, laying there with our staffs next to us to hold us and to anchor us. And, you know, I'm laying there, and, you know, we have our vomit containers next to us in case we need it. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I don't mind being in the dark, but, you know, it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. I wasn't accustomed to being in such darkness, you know. I thought that was kind of funny for me to be in such dark conditions. But anyhow, so they turned the lights off, and the shamans, you know, were up all night, you know, making sure that they were covering and running energy around us, make sure that we were protected, and they were able to journey with us. So I'm going to begin my journey here. So here I am, laying in my cot, and I'm sitting there, and I'm laying there going, um, this is different, because all the other journeys were different. You know, they were all different, and you know, just because every teacher is different. And the reason he had us in the dark is because there's too many things to distract you from your journey. If you're able to see light, like if you're able to see things, it deters from your journey, according to his teachings. According to his teachings, which I respect, and I understand. Everybody does it different. And so I'm laying there. I don't know what time it is, but all of a sudden, it kicks in. I look over my wife. The lights aren't quite off yet, and I look at my wife. She starts laughing at me like, she's gone. She's already going. And that was the last thing I remember seeing her. And then the lights go off, and then imagine a light bright. You ever see a light bright? But really, a light bright is where you put these little lights and you make all these little figures and stuff. Back in the 70s and 80s, they had that. But imagine like it looks like a computer chip. It looked like a computer chip. It looked like a board, a motherboard, like lights running through it. And then I can see faintly the same shapes that I saw in my previous journey. I can see the Merkabahs. They were like Merkabahs, and I saw these Merkabahs, but it was neat because it was complete black, pitch black, and I can see these colors on this black on black. I can see these little color beads popping up. And several people had mentioned that they saw something similar. And I saw these little lights, and they were all in different frames. And then all of a sudden, it just like became this wave, and it started to whip around. And then I was in this tapestry, like this tapestry of uh, colors. And it probably looked something like my hat here, something similar to this. It kind of had like all these different shapes like this. I started to see and this is in the darkness, and it was about this kind of color too. So it kind of looked like that, and it reminded me. This is why this hat reminds me of my journey a little bit, because I started to see shapes like this within the darkness of my journey. And then I remember feeling like I was on a roller coaster. I felt like I was moving like through this roller coaster, and just like up and down. And the storytelling was different this time compared to how I had in the previous journey with the last shaman in 2015, Herbert Quinteros, who's a friend of mine now. And but it was different. And so I'm seeing all these colors, I'm seeing all these shapes, and I'm seeing all these figures like appear, like, ancestral figures, kind of like they were different, like indigenous people. Like they were indigenous people, like leaders or people with feathers. I got to see all these different shapes and stuff. And then after I saw all these shapes and I saw all these figures, I started to get like feeling funny. And that's because the ayahuasca is working. And I remember like my body just naturally gets up on the chair, and I hurled into the bucket. But it wasn't like a hurling like it was like, no, it was like there's nothing quiet about me. There's nothing simple. I do everything very big and loud, and so it was pretty intense. And then I saw different things in my past, kind of like I saw commercials, TV commercials, of things that I had seen when I was a kid, things that I grew up wondering what they were saying, but now I understood it because I'm watching it as an adult. And and I'm still going through this journey, and I'm like watching people talking and conversing. It was kind of weird. It's kind of like like these little puffs of appearances from here to here, like I was in these dimensional past, like I was looking at the past. I just kept seeing them; they would disappear. And then it was, since because we were in the darkness, there was like the background was dark, playing on top of the images that I was seeing. So it was different from the last journey, because the last journey it had its own unique backdrop, just because of the colors and stuff. But I remember seeing all these ancestral beings of mine, and then I've threw up many times along the journey, just because the movement is what makes you sick. Not only the plant medicine that, it's ingested in your body, that you've ingested, and you're like rolling through this energy, and you're going to feel this energy, and it's like, blah. And then the next thing you know, I hear this voice, the voices, and the voices are like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what? Are you ready to move forward?" And I'm like, "Move forward? Are you ready?" But it was like in a language that wasn't English, it wasn't Spanish, but it was like this unspoken but telepathic language, like, "We're ready to help you to move into this new arena, this new space, this new place that you need to go." And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know the shaman talked about ascension and moving into the next levels of ascension within the shamanic practice. And knowing that I'm a shaman myself, I was like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, this sounds cool. Is this something like, I wasn't sure what I was going to get myself into. Well, we need you to move this way. We need you to come and prepare yourself to move. And at that moment, my body started to get really cold. My body started to get limp. My body started to get like I had no control of my body. He said that there would be a point of catatonic state where I would not be able to move my body, where I would not be able to control myself. And I tell you, I had to go to the bathroom so bad, and I wasn't about to soil myself in there. And I fought through that. And I fought through that, thinking, was that going to impede my journey? And no, but it didn't. My body somehow knew not to do that. And if you know anything about transitioning and death, when you die, you purge. You release all your bowels. You release all your fluids that you were, your super subconscious controls. Because there is also a higher level of ourselves that controls things that we should or should not see, should not experience. And knowing that, I knew that going into the journey, because this is something you learn as you do this work. So there's always going to be a level of protection, because I create protection too before I started my journey, which I didn't talk about. But there's also your higher self will always protect you, make sure you're not off kilter. A lot of people don't do that when they're in their journeys. But these voices were like, "We're ready to move you. We're ready. You just have to let go. You have to release." And then I look over, and I feel like I'm laying down, and I look over and I see this spiral, like this big spiral, like almost like something you would see in like what is that movie that has all the gates? Stargate. It kind of looked like a Stargate type energy. Kind of had that, but around it were like lights and flowers and colors and waves and energy and more voices and the calling. And at that moment, I'm thinking to myself, I am either witnessing the beginning of birth or witnessing the ending of a transition that's not, it's either mine or somebody else's. There was something going on. To this day, it's not clear to me exactly which one of that was. Was I ready to die? Was I ready to transition? When I felt the energy, when I knew that if I stepped through that portal and I stepped through that energy and through that block, through that space, that I would no longer exist in this time. I felt that with every fiber that was left in my body in that moment. And the only thing that I could move was my finger. The only thing I could move was my index finger. That's it. That's all I had control of at that moment. I was ready to move. I was ready to project into this space. Now, was I apprehensive because I was afraid? Of course I was scared. I was afraid. Who the heck would not be afraid when you don't know where you're going? Number one, you got to trust voices that you're not familiar with. It didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel right. There was like an indifference. There was not like good or bad. There was no feelings like that. And at the last second before I was getting ready to go, this sounds like a great idea. At the last second when I was ready to move through that space, I heard this voice, "No, no." And I saw this hand, like, "No." Just like that. It was either me I don't know who it was, but I saw this no. And I'm saying this a couple times now. I said no. And I heard it more like no. And then all of a sudden I could feel my fingers moving. I could feel my hands, energy coming back to my body. And knowing from what the shaman said that once your body goes in that state when you're like completely cold, you become you become you become I don't know, you become catatonic. Your body starts to you're losing the ayahuasca starting to leave your body. And at that moment, as soon as I had control of my hand, I grabbed the staff. We have a staff. And I said, no. And I hit it on the ground. Back. No. I'm here. I'm staying here. I appreciate the opportunity. And I thank you for the opportunity to transition, to move, to ascend, whatever this is, which I don't know what it is or who I'm witnessing or what I'm going through. And I said, no. Because the love for my family was too strong. I said, I'm not ready to leave my family. I'm not ready to leave my wife. I'm not ready to leave my children. I'm not ready to leave my grandchildren. I have more work to do on this plane of existence, and I appreciate the opportunity. I was talking out loud because I got confirmation from everybody who was around me. They said, you're really loud, and you're like, I'm sorry to interrupt your journey, but this is the journey that I was on, and my journey's loud. I'm sorry that you wanted a peaceful journey. That wasn't, sorry. I didn't apologize because, I'm not there to apologize. You're there to have an experience, and we all experience life differently. We all experience life in ways that we need to experience. I was talking to people across the room. I don't remember talking to them. They were talking to me. And, my friend next to me was laughing because he heard me, talking to myself and arguing with myself. And, I had confliction, and I said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to go. You cannot make me go. And I hit the staff, and I felt like someone was trying to hurt, like go near my wife, and I hit over there and said, stay away from her. Stay away from my friends. Stay away from everything. So I don't know what it was. To this day, I'm still processing, working on that. But I know that I hit that staff on the ground every time I felt like there was a presence that was trying to move me in a direction I didn't want to go. In that moment, I knew that I was getting control of my cognitive body again. But as soon as I did that, as soon as I connected, as soon as I dropped the staff and I said, no, 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 this is it. I'm going this direction. I do not choose to go that direction because that's not my direction. My direction is I've healed whatever I needed to heal. I witnessed whatever I need to witness. I need to come back to my body, I need to come back home. And then I threw up. And I had to poop so bad and pee so bad. Oh my God. It sounds funny, but it's not funny. And I said, it's either that or vomit. I'm vomiting. So I vomited out the ayahuasca, the medicine, because you can feel it. And then, I saw something that was super powerful. I saw light. And it came through the windows, the upper windows of the temple. At that moment, I knew I was back in my body. I was back from the journey. Had returned. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? I was so freaked out about dying. I was not ready to die. Because I felt like I was going to die. Not because the ayahuasca was killing me, but I felt like it was transition time. It was weird, my friends. It was really weird. It was like, I had never had that experience and did not like that experience, but I had to have that experience because I got to witness my death, my rebirth, a part of an ancestor's death or rebirth, or potentially dying in that moment, or potentially ascending too. Creating, moving into the next level. Did I hamper it? I'll never know. The point was, that's not where I wanted to go. That's not where I chose to go. I created healthy limits and boundaries for myself within the journey, which you, I believe, have to do for yourself. Sometimes letting go and just letting ride, it's like saying, let's just jump in this car. I'll see what happens if I push the pedal and don't have any direction. Sometimes it's like that, sometimes it's not. But I know one thing. I'm grateful for the journey because the journey woke me up to see things differently. And the first thing that came out of my mouth was like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need ayahuasca. The ayahuasca and we part in a good, loving way. She's told me, you don't need me no more. You know how to heal those wounds. You know how to move that energy. You don't have to engage with me in this deep, rooted, grounded energy to feel the feelings that you need to feel. You know what those feelings feel like. You know the grief of loss of your family member. You know what it feels to be joyful and to be happy. And that's what I did. I felt that. I felt all that. I felt all that. And I understand now. I get it now. I get it now. I understand what ayahuasca was telling me. Yes, it took 3 times. And 3 times is enough for me. Because when I learned, because I didn't know this. I didn't know this until I heard it from the teacher, the shaman. He goes, there's a reason why there's a lot of sick shamans, because they take too much ayahuasca. Because it hurts your mind after a while. And the problem is there's no one to teach them that sometimes. Sometimes they're their worst enemies. And I was like, really? I didn't know that. He goes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's things, everything in moderation, right? Is basically what he was saying. Everything in moderation, even plant medicine. Don't think because you have it all the time. Plant medicine sometimes is when it's done its job and it's told you it's done its job and that's it. Maybe later it'll call you again. But usually when she says, you don't need me no more. You know how to do this work without the medicine. Now your next plant medicine is San Pedro. San Pedro is the future. Where you want to go and where you want to be. Ayahuasca is the past. What you need to work on in order to come back to where you want to be. To let go of the traumatic moments. As you heal yourself, you also have to move in a different direction. You can't. You can no longer. You're like a rubber band that's been stretched. You can no longer go back. You can no longer go back to that space. It doesn't exist anymore. There's remnants of it, but that's it. But when you come here, you're ready for San Pedro. San Pedro will come when San Pedro comes. But I'm not in a hurry. Because now I know how to work the energy that was taught to me through ayahuasca to do the healing work that I need to do for myself and with others. Helping others. And like I said, ayahuasca is not for everybody. Ayahuasca is to be respected and to be honored. All plant medicines are. But when San Pedro calls me, I will go and I'll be ready. For some people, it's right away. For some people, it's later. Or, it won't be super late, but it'll be soon. But I just know that ayahuasca and I, the relationship with ayahuasca and I, we broke up. I guess this is the best way to say it. She's like, well, I appreciate you. You did great. But we don't need each other anymore. Because you have moved into a new realm of existence in your progression of your learning of shamanic practices. And when the shaman knows, when the shaman knows, or when the person knows, they no longer need to be using that plant medicine as a crutch or to put you in a state of altered states, because ayahuasca is not that. Ayahuasca is not is to put you in altered states and to like go, oh wow, look at that. No, it's not that. Anybody tells you that, and first thing comes out of their mouth like that, you need to run and go away. Because this is about healing. This is about protecting. This is about healing wounds. If you want to go off and get high and get drunk and get buzzed, ayahuasca is not the plant. I'll tell you right now. as alive as I am right here, and I'll tell you right now, ayahuasca is not that plant to mess with. She will punish you. Guaranteed. You know? She punishes those who don't respect her and don't honor her. So honor your mother. Honor the Mother Earth. Ayahuasca is the Mother Earth. She is the Pachamama. She's the Ayamaya. She's the medicine that helps you heal the wounds that you don't want to hear about, you don't want to talk about, you want to bury. You're always complaining that everybody tells you the same story over and over. It's because you're not working on yourself. She's there to remind you about it and to tell you what you need to do. But are you listening to her? If you listen to her, you will have this moment like I'm having right now. This moment of, we don't need each other in that capacity anymore. I honor and respect you. I will sing songs about you. I will honor you and share with you my story. It doesn't mean every time I go to Peru I'm going to do ayahuasca. No. That's not no more. She and I no longer need each other in that capacity. We need each other in a healing capacity. Now she's giving me the messages and all the things that I need to do to be able to heal the wounds that I have accumulated over time and recreated the stories inside of me or yourself or whoever, and be able to transmute those and remake those into a new light. So when I'm able to move through that energy, I'm ready to move into the future aspects of myself and the things that will bring me more bliss and joy and clariness to my life and the projections that as I move forward in time. As I age with maturity, as I age, my body breaks down. Prepare me for the last transition of my life. And the last transition of my life is my death. Because we will all die. No one's here is exempt from death. How you experience life is up to you. Everything that you do between birth and death is your playground. So choose wisely how you live your life. How you speak, how you talk, how you share, how you love, how you don't love, who you don't love, who you've let go. That's your journey. That's your life. The experience that you have. Your destiny's birth, your destiny's death. Those two are predetermined. There's nothing you can do about it. That's it. But everything in the middle, the nougat, the filling, that's yours to experience and to share, or to destroy, or to make impossible. You have control of what happens to you in your life. Plant medicine just helps you see the windows for you to heal the pieces and parts. So, you want to have a different life? You have to ask better questions. You have to have better plans. You have to have better friends. You have to have a better idea where you want to be. Plant medicine opened up my eyes. Ayahuasca opened my mind to understand, to listen to the messages that need to be listened to. She and I no longer need each other in the capacity that I have to take it in order to figure things out. She showed me how to figure things out. And when I think about it, I knew that. But I had to take it because I had to make sure. Well, there's the human aspect of myself. Oh, I gotta know. Because we know the ugly inside of us. We know the beauty inside of us. What we choose to project, to the world, that's up to us. And so the plant medicine of ayahuasca, the plant medicine of San Pedro, your mushrooms, your cannabis, all the things you do, honor and respect it. Because if you don't, you can find yourself in a big heap of hurt very quickly. So when you take ayahuasca and you take any of that type of plant medicine, the connection is very powerful. So be careful when you ingest other plant medicines with the plant medicine. That's why ayahuasca and San Pedro are sisters and brothers in connection. Why? Because they come from Peru. They come from Peru. And those medicines, kind of like the peyotes and the mushrooms here, they have the connections. So you have to honor and respect these connections. That's why I take people to Peru to know and learn through plant medicine. I tell you, there are some good people, good practitioners here that probably do great work, and you probably use them, but it's not the same. Yeah, you have a journey. Yeah, you have. It's all where the plant comes from, and what that plant medicine does. Honor and love who you are, why you're here. You all are here for a mission. You're all here for creating magic. You're all here to support each other, support one another, and love one another. You're all here to challenge each other. You're all here to push buttons. You're all here to sew back buttons. You're here to feel happy, joy, sadness, all the emotional gamut of what a human would feel. Your journey is to experience life and be in life, not just walk through life and float through life. So that's a brief story about my journey, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it was give you some insight to what you need to do. Like I always say, it's good to be here, and I mean that. And when I say that it's good to be here, it's because where else would you want to be? Where else could you be? Is it better to be here and to be present in the moment and honor the space that opens up for us in the universe? There's so much to share about this story. There's so much to talk about. And, maybe I'll share it from time to time in pieces and parts. But this is the parts that I felt were important to share. Yeah, I shrunk it down concisely a lot, but I believe that's what I needed to share tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining in and tuning in and being here with me. It's good to be here. I appreciate you guys who understand that mantra and what it means for me and what it means to you and what it means to the people who say it and sing it. Irisikwi also means gratitude in Quechua. And, Ho'oponopono matakuyasin. All those beautiful words that we say. Let's say it when we mean it. When we say it, let's mean it. So look for me on your YouTube channels. It's good to be here. IggyGarcia.com. You can see me there. Just look up Iggy Garcia. You can find me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Just about everywhere there's social media, I'm probably there. And if you guys want to go to Peru, let me know. We can work out another group to go next time and do a different type of journey. But either way, enjoy life where you're at. Enjoy the people that are around you. Enjoy the people that you've met. Say thank you to the people who walk away and move away, or say good riddance, whatever you think you need to say. But honor you. Honor who you are. Give thanks to you for all the hard work that you've put in and all the energy that has brought you to this point. And never forget your ancestors who created the energy, who created the moment for you to be birthed. You're a trillion and a trillion of a chance, all right, to be born, even be born. So the miracle that you are, just remember, you are a miracle. You are the magic. You can change one life, even if that life is just your own. Just remember, you are vital to this world. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but you are. You are. And you're beautiful, and you're loved, and you know what? Keep doing what you do. Share what you do. Because you're making a difference in somebody else's life. Trust me, there's a lot of you I know who make a big difference in my life, who open up good possibilities and opportunities for me to share the work I share. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Get a good rest. I do have a book that's coming out, and that book is about drumming and how you can fit in the drum circle. And I think it's a very powerful medicine. When that book is done, I'll let everybody know. So there's some cool things coming up. So we have a drum circle this weekend at Griggs for those of you who want to drum with me here in Columbus, Ohio. And, we'll see you next time. Thank you for allowing me the moment in this space to share with you. a piece and part of my life, a piece and part of my journey. And you know what? Take care of yourselves. It's good to be here. And we'll see you guys next time. All right? Be well. Take care.